Dr. Cindy Davis Evans with The Cindy Davis Show. Today, my guest is considered an institution in the realm of public relations, representing music legends such as Dionne Warwick, Roberta Flack, Karen Clark Sheard, and the late Michael Jackson. Welcome to the show, humanitarian fashion designer, producer, actor, founder, and president of Double Exposure Media Relations. Welcome, PR guru, Mr. Angelo Ellerbe.
Greetings, my love. How are you today?
Greetings. How are you?
I'm blessed. Thank you so very much for this opportunity.
And thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with me today. It's such an honor to have you.
Well, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. It's all my pleasure.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You know what? I'm so honored that you're here. And in doing my research, I realized that you attribute your success to God, the Father, your beloved mother, and Mtume.
Yes.
How so?
Well, God is first and always will be first in my life.
Yeah.
I am no more than a vessel of his work and his word. I give him what he gives me: love, guidance, understanding. He allows me to repent of my sins. He allows me to get through and to get over. He holds my hands in every storm. So why not? Why not? I give him 45 minutes a day when he gives me 24 hours in a day. God is my mercy. He is my all in all. He's my everything. And then is my mom, who nurtured me, who cared for me, who loved me unconditionally, who accepted me, who guided me, who gave me love when I thought I wasn't being loved. My mother has been the steering wheel in my car of life for so many years. And I was so glad that God gave me early success so that my mother could witness what she poured into me.
Wow. Which
was success. I was able to do a lot at a very early age in my career that allowed my mother to see what she poured into me that I was pouring back out to other people.
That is absolutely amazing. Is she still with us?
No, unfortunately. I mean, she is with me each and every single day of my life, but her spirit lingers in my heart. No, she left me about maybe 8 or 9 years ago. And it's been a challenge, but it's also, I have learned never to question the work of God. I'm willing to accept and stop being, I think I tell people every single day, stop being so selfish. Don't judge his work and don't judge his word. Stop thinking that it's about you. It's about him. And it's about the pain and the misery of the people that are going through. He knows best. No doctors in the hospitals. He is Dr. God. He is the all in all. So when he makes a decision to take our loved ones, we must learn the importance of acceptance.
Yes.
And he gives us a memory.
Yeah.
He gives us a memory so that we can remember them by it. That's what I live with.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful statement. And
it was James Mtume. James
Mtume. Yeah.
James Mtume was like, maybe I should say like a father to me. He took me in and taught me something that I never knew that I had the abilities to do. My degree is in fashion design, and his wife's degree is in fashion designs. And I used to do a lot of charitable fashion shows in what I call the greatest city in the world, Newark, New Jersey, because it was my birthplace, and everyone in Central Newark gave me nothing but love and support as I went through the development stages of becoming a designer, becoming a model. And Mtume said to me one day, if you can do all these things for Camille, maybe you should come and work for me in the music industry. I said, I don't know nothing about the music industry. And he would say in his very sarcastic tone, maybe you need to come and learn. And I said, okay. He says,
And so you became his intern.
I became his intern. I became his intern. From his intern, I
Mm-hmm.
became his manager. And from his manager, I became his president of his company called IFLAN. Yes.
That is just so amazing. And for those who don't know Mtume, he was popular back in like 83, 84, and was popular for the song Juicy Fruit. Is that right?
Right. But there is more, everyone wants to recognize Mtume for that song. But
Yeah.
the closer I get to you, Mtume wrote
He wrote
Back
that for your
Together
brother
Again.
Fleck.
Yeah.
Wow.
Back Together Again, Stephanie Mills, all of Stephanie's hits, Phyllis Hyman's hits. And then there was a resurgence of Mtume's music when Biggie Smalls took Juicy Fruit and made it his. And it goes on and on and on. So the legacy of music and his many contributions that he has made has been always overwhelming. Yeah. And I sit on the board of the Mtume Foundation today. I'm still very, very close to the family. We kicked off the foundation last year. It is called the James Mtume Foundation. And what we do is we support young people in the performing arts. We're able to give scholarships away so that they can complete school. And in the city, I think in all public schools, they have taken away the performing arts. And what we're trying to do is give the affordability for young people who want to be a part of the performing arts industries. And we supply them with dollars and cents, conversation, and the will to just employ positive thoughts in their minds. So, yeah.
That is so amazing. You began when you were like 14 years old in the fashion industry yourself, starting out as a young entrepreneur. Tell us about how you got into fashion. Who were your inspirations? Because back in the 60s and 70s, there weren't that many African American stylists, designers, models. Who were your inspirations, and how did you get started in the fashion industry?
Well, I mean, I think African Americans in the fashion industry has always been unsung. While we did it in our communities, we never got the kind of notoriety or respect for our creativity and our involvement in mainstream fashions. Mm-hmm. But I was from the grassroots, watching my sister Rose, who was a beautiful and still is a very beautiful young lady who got into fashions. She would do the pret-a-porter. She worked for the Ebony Fashion Fair. And I just saw all the great things that she was doing. And I began to emulate and watch her do her things and start to adapt onto those things that she was doing at a very early age. And I was never afraid of attempting the unknowns. I always wanted to act. I always wanted to be in the limelight. And so for me, it was just challenging the oppositions and putting yourself there. But I also came from a very strong parent who believed that everyone in her that sat at her table must be a contributor. Mm-hmm. You must contribute. And what she meant by that, you either were going to go to school, you were going to work, you were going to pay rent, you were going to take on the responsibilities as an adult. And that's what I lived by. I lived by that. From like maybe 7 years old to 12 or 13 years old. So my mother gave me the freedoms to just be who I wanted to be and to go out and claim my own victory through Christ. And in that, I just started doing local things in the city of Newark. I had a wonderful friend and a great aunt who taught me how to sew, and I learned how to illustrate. And Richard was so wonderful, and my Aunt Mavis, they just gave me the kind of tutelage that it took to go out there and become independent and to be on my own. So my Aunt Mavis and my very dear friend Richard Ames, who guided me and gave me the kind of support that I needed. But I want you to understand, and I want your viewers to understand, Self-determination is something that you get from God. And when you pray on it and you give it to him, I didn't say pray on it and keep asking him. I said pray on it and give it to him.
That's the key.
Trust in him. That's key. And it was key for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still very key for me. I am nothing, again, and excuse my redundancy. I'm nothing without him. I'm everything with him.
Amen.
I'm everything with him. I can knock down a wall because I know he got my back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you take all this energy from your mother, you take it from your peers and your aunts, and you just apply it. The biggest goal in my life was to see a smile on my mother's face. So my mom was a waitress. She didn't have the best education in the world, but she graduated from the Institute of Self-Knowledge.
Yeah.
She was full of energy and full of fire, and that's what she instilled in me.
Wow.
And I all the money that I've made in this industry, I owe it to my mother. I owe it to my mother because at a very early age, she taught me manners, speech, dress. I got a haircut once a week, and I went to school from grammar school to junior high school in suits and ties. So she taught me about the appearance and the whole. All of these things came from mom.
Wow.
Because I went to a charm school, and then it was the experience, and you applied it. And as I would continue to apply my various experiences, it multiplied into dollars and cents.
Wow. That is
yeah.
I love it. I love it. How was you moved to overseas? Was it England?
I lived in Paris, France for 2 years.
Paris, France.
Yeah, I lived in Paris, France for 2 years. From 17 years old to 18 years old, or they ended 18 going into 19 years. And so this was the proposition that my mother said.
Yeah.
I don't know where you gonna get this money to go. But I hounded her for weeks and months that I really wanted to go, but I was still in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, you can go for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And she said, but just tell me something. Why you want to go? I said, Mom, I can't model here. You know, my body type was very thin and the bit I didn't have the muscles, but overseas, my body was tailored for overseas. And all of my friends in the fashion industry was going to Paris, France. And they were going to Paris, France because we were a delicacy, you know. But we could go over there and make all kinds of money. They wasn't not taxing our money. Mm-hmm. We can go, if you had the connections, you can go over there and make a lot of money. But my first couple of weeks, I think I raised about $2,000 or $3,000. And back in that day and time, that was a lot of money. Yeah. But that money was running out. So I took on a job in a soul food restaurant by the Champs-Elysees. And so I cooked fried chicken and collard greens for about 4 months. My portfolio was not up to par the way that they had an appreciation for. We rushed the portfolio, me and a friend of mine's, Karen. So the pictures were horrible. And so I had to take on a job inside of this restaurant. And one day, this gentleman came in and he said, who spoke English, he said to me, he says, why are you frying chicken and cooking collard greens? You came all the way over here to do that? I said, no, man, I came over because I wanted to model. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
He said, let me look at your book. And he looked at the book. He said, that's you? I said, yes, man. He said, oh, that's why you're not working. He was so kind that he reshot my whole book over. And what was supposed to be 2 months turned into 2 years.
Wow.
And I started making money. So it was so funny. My mother was really, she could have been a comedian. So I'm sending her all of my money back. And she goes, boy, what are you doing over there? Where are you getting this money from? Where are you getting this? I said, Mama, I'm working. You working then making this kind of money? Mama, I tried to tell you. So I stayed there for 2 years. I came back. Me and my 2 oldest sisters
Yeah.
I made enough money to buy my mom a house. My mother always wanted,
Wow.
and she always wanted. Back in the day, there was this Caucasian TV show that came on called the Donna Reed Show.
Yeah.
And Donna Reed and her husband lived this Caucasian lifestyle. Upstairs, down. My mother always wanted stairs in our house.
Mm.
My sisters went out and purchased a house with my mom. And the rest was really history within my family. It became the family's house where everybody would come and sleep and cook out. And my mother deserved that. My mother deserved that and more. And so, yeah. So the inspiration behind what I do is God first, always.
Yeah.
2 is never to be afraid.
Yeah.
3, be original in your style and who you are. And be honest. Tell the truth. I tell people every day, the truth is not on strike.
Yeah.
And you can deliver it in a very diplomatic way. Your tonality and your delivery doesn't have to be hostile in order for it to get the point. You can use your way of persuasion to tell someone the truth. And that's where I think I'm at in my career. I started off with club artists and working from the basement of my mom's house.
Oh.
The house that we bought. We started off in the basement. I took an old dining room table of my mother's and put it in the basement. Back then, all they had was a team phone.
Yeah.
I had a team phone, and I went to work. I would just get on the phone. And after I did all these shows and I started with this club music, I ventured into Entombed. I became a publicist by mistake. This is a mistake. But I know that God don't make mistakes.
Exactly. It wasn't your design. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Design.
It was not.
Yeah.
So Entombed and my relationship with Entombed, he says, you're going to learn the importance of diversifying. I said, what? He said, no, you're not going to be one thing.
Yeah.
You're going to be everything.
Wow.
I want you to learn everything. And this man would sit back with me after I go to the meetings in the record companies. Every time I came back, he had a space in his house, a room in his house. It was called the Yellow Room. And that's where you went to get spankings, or that's where you went to get educated. That's where you went to tell the story. And he would just teach me. I was very nervous to go inside of a company, a major record company like CBS Records, and not know what I know I needed to know. Yeah. He said to me, the only way you're going to learn is that you sit there. And I looked so foolish for about 6 or 7 months. But every time I finished those meetings, I had to come in there. And then slowly but surely, I got it and got it and got it. Then they called him to me and said, he's a monster. Because I studied, I listened to Entombed, because based on his experiences, he was teaching me how to deal in an industry that is not so desirable. And particularly in that day and time, Black folk was just not appreciated to the magnitudes that they should be appreciated. Don't care who you were and what you did. We always had another side that they wanted to talk to, not this side of straight on. I can't even say they were talking they were talking from their ears. But you had to be smart enough to understand what they were saying. And this was the tutelage and the teachings of James Entombed, who had me to focus in on conversation, read between lines, be able to write. He would say, write. Everything you go to do, write them. Don't ever, when you talk to them on the phone, recap it, send it right back to them. So there's no misunderstanding. So this all became a practice. And one day he called me and he says, I want you to come up to the house right now. Said, yes, Entombed. I get in the car and I go up and he goes, you're going to be happy. And I said, Okay, tell me why I'm gonna be happy tonight. Because I'm about to score a movie. I said, really?
Mm.
So I said, really? And Jermaine, are you pulling my leg? He said, no, I'm telling you, I'm scoring the movie The Native Son. So The Native Son was the first motion picture that Oprah Winfrey started.
Yeah.
It was a Diane Silver production. I got a chance to work with James Baldwin, all of these great people. So Mtume says, you're going to be my publicist.
Mm.
And I go, what? He said, do you know what a publicist is? I said, no. I just said, what? He said, okay. He gave me $100 bill. Said, go and buy 100 newspapers and come back. Now, when I came back, he says, I want you to read the bylines. I want you to find out who wrote what stories. And I don't want you just to get into music. I want you to get into every aspect of life, from criminal to education, to music, to theater, to the performing arts. I want you to learn and know all of these people. Mm-hmm. Well, there was a lady, I started doing cold calls, and I sound so stupid on these calls. I sound so stupid. I would get so nervous and so stupid. So I called this lady up named June. At the time, she was working for the New York Times.
Yeah.
She says, he just coughing all over the phone. I'm like, she said, so what did you want? What did you want? And I go to saying, what my name was, and I go with that bit. She's just coughing and hacking.
Yeah.
So I said, can I send you something? And what's your address? Because back then there was no computers. You had to write everything down.
Yeah.
Got off the phone. I said, she's either coming down with a cold or she smoked 5 packs of cigarettes. Which one is? I don't know. So I got in the car and I went down to Walgreens. It was the drugstore that I went down. I bought 40 packs of puff drops.
40 packs. Wow.
40 packs. I went into the gift department with the boxes. Yeah. I put ribbons behind it all. I made a very fruitful basket. Mm-hmm. I overnighted it too. So they said, oh, Angelo, there's somebody from the New York Times on the phone for you. I said, oh, Joan, I watched. She said, oh, this is so sweet. So wonderful. And I go, oh. She said, but why did you send them? I said, I heard you coughing, just coughing.
Yeah.
He said to me, now, young man, what can I do for you?
Wow. Look at that door open right there.
It is. To give is to receive. To receive is to give, right?
Absolutely.
And when you're in this tiger's business, nobody is sensitive enough to listen and understand what their surroundings is. I did. She gave him a full-page spread in the New York Times.
New York Times. That's amazing.
So he came to me. He said, so I thought you said you know nothing about publicity. I said, Mtume, that was just a whim. He said, no, that wasn't a whim. He said, do you understand the importance of the New York Times?
When artists come to you, what is it that you teach them?
Well, I established back in the 90s a 24-week artist development program. It was called, the press called it the Charm School for Rappers. But I really studied my history with Berry Gordy. And I understood what Berry Gordy went through back in the late 50s and early 60s, that discrimination and racism was going to stop his growth and his artist growth because of the climate and the time. Mm-hmm. Our music was listened to in Black radio stations. They called our radio stations, and that was beach music, because that's just where it went. It did not go abroad. Our music was not being played on major stations. So the man I look at and with great enthusiasm is Berry Gordy, because he was smart enough to say, if do what they do in Rome. When you're in America, you're going to do what America tells you to do. Yeah. So let's bring some class to my female acts. Let me teach them how to sit in the chair. Let me teach them how to hold a coffee cup. Let me teach them diction and speech. Let me get a stylist. Let me get some makeup artists. For my guys, I'm going to put them in grooming. Yeah. These were the things that I emulated from Berry Gordy and put it in my time frame. So my 24-week artist development class is now in universities across the country.
Wow.
One of my first students was Mary J. Blige. And our meeting was the strangest meeting in the world. This was at the very rough times of Mary's career at the beginning. And nobody really she was unmanageable. That's what they would used to tell me. So a wonderful friend of mine in the music industry, Jackie Reinhardt, called me up and asked me if I would consider to take on Uptown Records. That was where Andre Arel was the president and CEO, and then it was Puffy. The list goes on.
Yeah.
So she said, Angela, would you consider to do artist development on Mary J. Blige? And I go, yeah. And why I said yeah, because I had 4 sisters who was tougher than a rubber band. They were tough.
Yeah.
And I grew up in the greatest city in the world, Newark, New Jersey, which was an urban city. We knew how to handle things, in other words. So the appointment was made. She came an hour late. So when you walked into my office, you get on the elevator and you were in my office. So all day long, I'm worrying about downstairs. There was a place called the Carnegie Deli. I just wanted a pastrami sandwich for some strange reason. And so that's all I'm thinking about at this point. So, excuse me, I waited there. It was an hour late. I'm standing at the elevator and she goes, I'm here to see Angela. And I look at her. I said, are you here to see Mr. Ellerby? She said, whatever. I said, yeah, whatever. I am Angela Ellerby. And you're late. I'm going to Carnegie Deli to have my sandwich. You want to try this tomorrow? Let's try this tomorrow. She pushed the elevator. She got on with the security guard. The next day, she was 2 hours early.
Yeah.
How you start.
Lesson learned.
We became the best friends. We became such good friends. She would say, oh, Angela, because I always want my talent to review their work. So I would take all our interviews and make her watch. She said, Angela, I'll give you $10,000. Please don't make me watch these things. I said, no, you're going to watch them. Sitting in the chair with your legs wide open, looking on. These were the things that I was teaching them. And I call those survival skills. You know, so when I see this girl that went through 24 weeks of artist development with me about all phases of being in the music industry, receive a Oscar nomination last year, to receive all of the accolades that she's receiving, I've done my job.
Wow.
I've done my job.
Yeah. You have to be. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I look at it as what I do is not instant coffee. I don't drink instant coffee. I drink through the coffee. It's going to take time for it to sink in. Slowly but surely, Mary came around. Mary's an actress now. She's acting on TV. This was a girl that was so insecure with life and all the things that came with life. She is so well grounded now. She's sitting up and you take notice and she's in control. Timing. It's timing. And you got to really think about it and say, I do want change in life. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
From Mary J. Blige, went on to Alicia Keys, went on to Genuine, and then I started managing DMX. And I learned a lot from managing DMX. I really did. People thought I was cuckoo for Cocoa Pops. I really wasn't, because there were very different phases of being a publicist and being an artist development and marketing person. Everything in a bed of roses. God didn't promise you no roses.
That's right. That's right. He said that we will have trials and tribulations on this world, in this world.
And I used to call my office manager when we were on the road, and I would say, Jeffrey, I can't take it anymore. I just can't. I can't. He said, you got 19 people back in this office. You got to pay their salaries this week. You won't have to take it a little bit longer. But as I went through all of those many years of working for X, I learned what tough love was about. I learned that there was some serious sides that need to be unveiled and that I can really help them. And what really wound up happening, he wound up helping me and strengthening me more than I think I. He was very, very godly. He was very godly. I said, no, he's very godly.
Oh.
We had every bill underneath the sun. The first thing that he would ask me, Ansel, did you pay my tithes? Did my tithes get paid? I was like, yeah, your tithes got paid. I have seen him gift churches across the country, thousands and thousands of dollars. So the exterior, what we saw, whatever, I knew the real person.
You knew the real person, yeah.
Yeah, I did. And when he would go through things, I would always ask him, hey, Earl, did you pray today? And he would go, you know what? No, let's pray. And that man would say a prayer with me in tears.
Wow.
We have to stop trying to judge a person by the cover of the book.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Really read each page and examine the soul of where it came from.
Yeah.
We're challenged. We all are challenged with obstacles, with the lack of love, with disappointments, whatever it is. But people need to love one another, or have the understanding to love one another, and understand you yourself have the same kinds of difficulties. Everything is in time. Everything is in time. And if you are patient with it, you can see all the things that you need to see, how to turn the corner, how to go straight, how to make a left or how to make a right. But this is timing.
Absolutely. What are some of, you are the guru of PR, of double exposure. What are some of the pitfalls or some of the lessons you've had to learn along the way, especially and particularly when you first started Double Exposure Media?
Well, I had to come to eyes to understand that there's a difference in black and white. There's a difference in white folks being PR agents and getting what they need to rightfully deserve to get, and how they're looked at as kings and queens, and how black PR people were looked at as just, so what?
Oh, wow.
I went through all of those challenges. You know, I worked for a record company by the name of Friskless Records for about 2 or 3 years, and with some kind of difficult challenges there, but I'm very strong-willed, if you understand.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna walk too far over me. There was a relationship where back in the day, there was a black music division and there was a pop music division. They're in the same company, but it was split and divide. Different budgets, different artists, and you cannot intervene in their meetings. You had nothing to do with pop artists. It was just that. So you were almost minus in terms of power or influence into the bigger picture as a black PR person. Everything white was right. Everything black, get back.
Get back, yeah.
But those were challenges that I went through, that I learned from it, and I try to tell young people today that it does exist. I try to tell young talent today, I know that you believe because they're white, they're right.
Right.
But they mess up just like blacks mess up.
Thank you.
You need to support the black PR companies.
Yeah.
You need to support the black independent publicists that are out here that are trying. And you need to give them a chance to expound and explore. You may feel like not on your dime and not on your time, but somebody but a dime and somebody but a time into you. So it's always a thing about giving back and giving people enough opportunity. Now, I'm not about playing baseball.
Okay.
I said, you don't get 3 strikes out here.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want nobody to give me 3 strikes. You can give me 2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You give me 1 to mess up on. If I mess up on the second one, I'll tell you goodbye. I'll give you back your money. But I think that we need to be fair with Black PR companies. With Black everything, we need to give it a chance.
Yeah.
And so if they're new coming into it, and if they're open and honest with you, they can grow with you. You can train them, you can mold them, you can make them be what they need to be. But open up the window of opportunity and support people of color. Now, I'm not speaking negatively towards white folks, but what I am saying is my abilities are stronger and greater or equal. Recognize it.
Recognize that. Who were some of the most memorable artists you've worked with? You've worked with the likes of Michael Jackson, Dionne Warwick, Karen Clark Sheard, DMX, as you just mentioned. Who are the most memorable throughout the years? Nancy Wilson, did I mention her?
You know what? I will always have this affinity for Dionne Warwick.
Yeah.
I love her. First of all, we have been together now for about 40 years.
Oh, yeah.
And we get on the phone and we talk like, first of all, we laugh for about 20 minutes about whatever's going on. And then we have heart-to-heart conversations.
Don't you just love those? Yeah, I'm sorry.
I do
too. Yeah.
You know, we share those intimate moments together, you know, where if there was a death in the family, if it was this, it was that. We talk about everything.
Oh, yeah.
And so she's been a center part of my life for 40 years. And I love her dearly. She don't take no nonsense.
Yeah.
But she checks me too.
Yeah.
I'm polite about how I would go to respond to her, if you will. But we have a clear understanding of each other. And what she wants me to know, she'll tell me. What she don't want me to know, you ain't gonna know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I love her dearly.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
People in my life that has affected me. When I was supposed to affect them, they wound up affecting
you. Yeah.
Now, you know, Dionne had a sister, right? Her name was Dee Dee Warwick.
Uh-huh.
I love this lady with every inch of love. She was hysterical. She was funny. She was an incredible singer. She used to sing. I mean, she had that Aretha Franklin get up in there.
Wow.
And just a wonderful, 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 wonderful energy. And so was Dionne's mother, who I loved and adored, gave me a lot of love. I think what keeps me surviving in this industry is the closeness of my clients, my talent.
Relationships that you've built.
And that's what's the key that unlocks every single door for you. In business, in friendships, relationships, and taking a time to get to know the people that you're going to embrace and be with.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about oh my God. I've fallen in love with Melba Moore. I'm loving Frankie Beverly so very, very much. They don't call him cool in the game because he is just that cool. Loving, hardworking, more hardworking now than ever. There is the Karen Clark Shears. I really, really adore and love Donald Lawrence.
Yeah.
Love Karen Clark Sheard. We worked together on our first album.
Oh.
I was at Island Black Music as the senior vice president. Hiram Hicks was the president of the label. And the first album that we did was on Island Black Music for Karen. So I had a chance to get up close and personal with her. And at that time, I started to do press for Donald Lawrence. And then it went on and on and on into the gospel arena. I've been so very, very blessed. I've done about 10 major motion pictures that either starred DMX or someone else. And it was at first it was in Two Maids of Native Son. Then it was Exit Rooms for DMX, and then it was Billy, and then it goes on and on. I've been so blessed. I've been around this world 2 or 3 times. And I sometimes look in the mirror and say, God, you chose me. Why? I don't know. Yeah. And anytime I feel discouraged, I have a conversation with him.
Yeah.
I take the word friend. I don't like the word friend at all. Because if you take that word friend and split it in the middle, you're going to get the end of a friend.
Except when it comes to God, he'll always be your friend.
He ain't no friend. He's an exceptional from away. But no, we don't put him in the same basket with friends.
Because, yeah.
Yeah? He stays away from that basket, yeah.
Yeah. You know, he is in a category all by himself.
Exactly.
All by himself.
Exactly. Yes, he is.
I tell you, I can go on and on about him.
Oh, I can too.
I can.
Yeah.
Is there a biopic about your life coming out, or?
Yes,
in the works.
20th Century Fox brought my life story many years ago, and they had me falling in love with Mary J. Blige, some ridiculous story, and so I didn't sanction it, and Mary didn't sanction it. And so now it's been reconsidered after many, many years. So yeah, we are starting to pull together my life story.
Amazing.
And it's one that I think people think that I've been gifted, and I've never been gifted. Yeah. I received the gift of prayers, but no one has given me anything. I've worked for everything. And I tell people who work with me and work for me now, I'm not going backwards. And I'm not going back to my mother's basement. So if you don't understand that it's called integrity, energy, and encouragement to keep this thing moving, I still work hard. I still do the same things that I did 20 years ago. I'm doing the same things to this day.
You're results driven.
Oh, yeah, I think when you get comfortable, I never can define what is success. I don't know what that is. I really don't. I think when people really believe they're successful, they're foolish. I really do. With success, you got to keep hammering that. Do you know there's someone that come to take your place while you're sleeping? And while you're sleeping, you better leave at least one eye open.
Yeah.
You gotta stay. If this is what you say, you gotta stay relevant.
You do in this business, and you gotta stay relevant.
Just send a message to Michael and say goodbye. Just pray on it and just move on. Because the reality is, stay invisible. All right, in the eyes of people. Those are the things that I find important. That's how people. I have never paid for a minute, a second of advertisement on my company. It's all been words that just traveled on.
Wow. Yeah, that's God's grace.
Yeah, that's exactly. So yeah, I just think that young people today and old people today need to sit and understand that everything that we have in life is a gift.
Yes.
And everything is temporary.
Yes.
And if you don't use that gift,
yeah.
And you got to always give him the thanks and the praise.
That's right. I believe that's why he gives us these platforms, so that we can give him the glory, not to glorify ourselves, but to glorify him.
Yeah.
I think that's key. I think that
is the key that unlocks that door. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I want to, you talking about gifts. You were also on Broadway. Did you do Bubble and Brown Sugar?
I played Papa J in Bubbly Brown Sugar. Oh my God, you've done your homework. Yeah, I
I'm
think when
taking you way back now.
yeah, I think when I came back from Paris, I was very, very confused. I didn't know what I really, really wanted to do. But what I knew I had to do was take care of myself. So I went and I took some classes at Swiss Baron, some acting classes, and I enrolled myself in Alvin Ailey, and I took some dance classes and got very serious about it. And it was an off-Broadway production. Yes, I did star in an off-Broadway production in my day and time. And then I danced for Ailey, that was the second tier. And then I began to create in 1979 the costumes for Alvin. So I went back to my designing thing for them. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Tell me, in retrospect, what would you change about your journey, if anything?
I don't think I would change anything. Mm-hmm. I think that I've made mistakes, but those mistakes were supposed to be. I don't think that I would. No,
change a thing, because all of that brought you here.
Yeah,
I wouldn't change where you are right now. Yeah,
I would. If I was, I would add on to keep giving God the glory. I would add that on to everything that I go to do, but I wouldn't ask for. I think I have a good life. There's nothing that I want for.
Yeah.
There's nothing that I need. I give him glory. I mean, what else can I ask for? There's nothing that I can ask for. I'm merciful.
What do you want to be remembered by? What do you want people to remember you by?
I would want people to understand who I was and why I was. I want them to understand they can remember it or forget it. It doesn't make any difference. At the end of the day, my life has always been challenged. I had to do what I needed to do in order to take care of my family. I had to work extremely hard. I worked from 8 years old to this day. I had to, and I want people to understand what you put in is what you get out. And I want people to understand that he gave what he gave, not just for him, but for in and everybody that was in his circle and outside of his circle. I want them to understand it's all about what you put in. Don't get mad at nobody. If you didn't accomplish what you needed to accomplish, don't get mad at nobody. Don't become accusatory. Don't come blaming nobody. Blame yourself. I want people to say he was a fair individual, an honest individual, and worked extremely hard and shared his fruits from his labor. That's what it's simple.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. What
would be your legacy, you think?
You know what? I don't know. I don't know what my legacy would be. And that question is asked a lot. I don't know what my legacy would be. I think it would just be a combination of what I just mentioned to you. I just would want someone to stand and look in the mirror and say, well, first of all, if you can look in the mirror and stay looking in the mirror, this is all about that man in the mirror, isn't it?
Isn't it though? It's all about, if you can't be truthful with that man in the mirror, you can't be truthful with anyone else.
You just answered my question. You answered your own question. Yeah, absolutely. It's that mirror.
Wow.
It's that mirror.
It's that mirror. I want to thank you, Mr. Ellaby, for being here and sharing your story and just giving us all this wisdom and this knowledge. It's just been such a blessing to have you here, and Double Exposure Media just keeps right on rolling. And I am so happy for you and all that God has given you.
Oh, I thank you for your willingness to reach out and to request. I want you to stay in the light of God. I want you to think big and claim victories. I want you to keep sharing your show. And I want you to be who you are. A child of God.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate that so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.